Hello and welcome back to the Minetrek.net game server. This will be an update for the Enterprise D build. I believe this will be update 13. Wow, 13. Today is February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. Anywho, quite a bit's going on. We're working in this area here, and M. Hiller realized that there was a slight audit issue going on. Panic built the lift to hold the shuttle, but the runabout, which is a really nice idea. We kind of all agreed that that's better than the lift idea over here, which is still not a bad idea. But there's an issue. When we mirror it, this lift won't fit over here. Excuse me for a second. And so this island here, which is in the drawings, is kind of an offset island. So that section over there on this side is actually smaller. So Blue Phobes, iPanic's not on this weekend, so or else he'd probably have gotten hold of it and fix it himself. But anywho, so we decided to it either has to be fixed or it has to be reverted back to the old design where the runabout there is the lift. So I spent a better part of last night revising this whole section. And when I say this section, I mean part of this section, this whole deck, this deck, this deck, this deck, and some of this deck. Yeah, they're all integrated because of the turbo lifts and the Jeffries tubes and the gangways. I'm going to go and see what he just said. Anyways, this is what I came up with after literally 8 hours last night, and I've still, it still had some changes and things that had to be done, which M. Heller went ahead and did for me. And as you can see here, don't mind the top of these things got shaved off. What happened is I had to raise the deck up by one, and I never put those back down. They got deleted. But this is what I came up with. As you can see, it's equal sides on both sides. The center column is now shorter, but it still retains many of the features that it originally had. I tried to keep as much of what iPanic and Blue Phobes had done as far as the interior goes. Tried to keep it as identical as possible, but since we're dealing with narrower spaces over here, some of the stuff couldn't be kept. And it was kind of a horseshoe fit, but it does line up, it does work, and it does look pretty decent. So nothing along the wall here has really changed. This still is there. Excuse me. This door is still here. When I put this back in the ship, I might actually make this a little bit bigger based upon everything that's over here, because it looks like this room here is just another empty room, so I can expand this storage room quite a bit if I want to. And it just depends on what's on this side. So I don't know what I'll do yet. I may not do anything. I may not be able to. But over here it took a little bit of reworking to do, but I think I pulled it off okay. And there used to be a Jeffries tube and a corridor right here, but in order to keep these the same size, I went ahead and removed the corridor, or excuse me, removed the Jeffries tube and just went with the corridor. I figure you come out of the Jeffries tube, or the turbo lift or the Jeffries tube, wherever the Jeffries tube, I think Jeffries tube's back here. You come out of the Jeffries tube back here, and if you need to, you can see right here, you can just go along this pattern here, or this thing through here, go up to the forward section, and then go to those Jeffries tubes up there. Also, there'll be the Jeffries tubes are connected from other locations as well. So yeah, we're okay. It took a little bit, I gotta say. I think actually the Jeffries tubes are below us too. We'll have to check that out. But the turbo lift had to be moved slightly, of course. I haven't finished patching this all in yet, but the turbo lift used to go straight and then up and then down. So now instead of going that, it curves in to here and then goes up. And we'll take that real quick here. There, you saw that Jeffries tube. There it is right there. And then there's a little ladder going down, and I'm probably going to put it up as well. Put a little Jeffries tube right here to go up, or wherever I can put it. Maybe right here might be the best spot for it. Yeah, that's what I'll probably do. Put the Jeffries tube right there. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, you take this Jeffries tube turbo lift now, and it I had to do a little creative designing because this goes down all the way down, and then over, and then down to the rest of the ship. It's okay because it's not like a consistent dog legging. It just you know has this little bent dog leg section right here, and that's about it. Oh well, check that out. Yep. So that's the change there, and we'll go ahead and I'll somehow implement this back into the build without totally screwing up the build. I also went ahead and added in deck 7 and 8. I think I mentioned that in the last video, but I also added in a bunch of the other decks, decks 9, 10, 11. I think I'm at 11 now. Let's go up here and check this out. Yeah, here's deck 9. We're working on deck 9, so deck 10, deck 11, deck 12, and deck 13 are all in. And the reason we put these in, they're not done by any means. It's so that I can go through and I can get all the issues and things to dealing with the hull problems all sorted out. And Lufobes and I went along through here and we marked our lines and where things need to go, and that's what most of this was done. Line through here, you can see just how much space is just not being used at all in here, and it's kind of aggravating to say the least, because the only way to get to this room is through a Jeffries tube and other areas. This is the main impulse bay, and you can see the size of the impulse engines is ginormous. Ginormous, that's a word. I just invented it. I trademarked that. Nobody else can use that word unless they pay me a nickel. But yeah, I figured out what I'd do here is I would go ahead and work on deck 9 in the ship. Mainly just because it seems to be more simple now, since we have quite a few more of the decks in. It'd just be easier for me just to stay in here and do it in here. That way there, when changes like happen with the hangar go down, I can respond to them a little bit more readily. Hopefully that won't happen too often, but you never know. But I've been going through and aligning all this, and this is pretty much the same for this and all this. So once these are in, it's just fill in the spots that need to be filled. Like as you can see here, these are way too short, and make them fit around here. And the same thing over here, way too short, and get it all set up and make sure everything is on the line. So when we put the walls up, I'm not really sure what this area is. I'm sure it's something. Also, we've decided we're going to put the stellar tarkography underneath, I can't figure out where I put it at, but it's going to go up here. And this is hydroponics, right? Well, this will be the first level of the stellar cartography. And stellar cartography is going to go down there, 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 to here. So it's going to be, well, maybe not that far, maybe just 3 decks. It just depends on the shape of the stellar cartography. But this is where I'm going to put stellar cartography, right in the center of the ship, forward. And it gives us plenty of room because we still have the hydroponics bay up here and the ones over there, and plus we're going to repurp some of the stuff back there to accommodate for the loss here. I guess hydroponics are important, I guess. I don't know. I've been told that they're important, so they have to be here. So, they'll be in. But yeah, quite a bit of hydroponics. Yeah, that sucks. But it is what it is. Flying through here, you can see the hangar. I'm not sure what they're doing as far as the roof goes for all of this stuff. This is not the hangar, this is actually the parking bay. I think it'll probably be half slabs, most likely half slabs. I also, with Panic, I added a Jeffries tube access. I did mention that I was going to extend this in, I think, the last or the second to last video. Hear that? And that's what I did here. I just moved the Jeffries tube along here. Yeah, let's go ahead and just put a door in right here. Because it wasn't in, so it needs to be in. Anyways, I tell you, Jeffries tubes on the D plans are kind of iffy. I'm glad we had a chance to go over these and kind of work with them and stuff and set them up. And here's another Jeffries tube. The problem I'm having when we get down to these lower decks, a lot of that space, this right here is something to do with the engines, from what I take it. This right here are feeder lines to the impulse engine, so there's no way on this deck to breach this. So this will be a Jeffries tube here on this side, and it'll go around. Kind of like what we did here, because it'll all match up here. So what I'm thinking about doing is, at some point, of course, this and that will connect to this Jeffries tube. So we do have a way to get across, but also considering running a Jeffries tube on the inside of here, but I can't really do that because this is a main impulse engine deck. So yeah, it's just, so the only way to get to that section of those Jeffries tubes is from the center of the ship, or maybe from down here someplace, maybe on the lower decks. So that's one of the issues I'm trying to route and figure out, because these Jeffries tubes are the only way to get access to these rooms back here unless you go into the main impulse bay. And it just seems rather frustrating to me. I mean, I guess we could run a corridor through here, which we already have that corridor there, so I don't see why I just couldn't, at this point, dogleg it to here and then run it along this way behind the impulse engines, because this is all nondescript, non-disclosed space. And what do we have here? I think this is the top of the impulse engines here. So, and this is just reserved for whatever. We can't really use the too high space for anything, so I just went ahead and converted it to gray. And this right here is the one high space. This, if we don't use this for anything, all this all the way forward may get changed to gray, may not, I don't know yet. But yeah, I think what I might do is, on this deck, which is deck 8, I might just go ahead and dogleg this and then have it come along this side. Now we gain access to this room, and we have a corridor that goes all the way over to here. That might be a good idea for that. I think I'll do it. I'll mock it up, and I think that's probably the better of the solutions for the issue here. And yeah, I could run it up through here again on this side, because there's nothing really going on in here, and a corridor through here wouldn't really affect anything, and then have it connect to here. That could also be an option as well. This is all for the latches and stuff above us. Now down here, it's a different story, because I have this here. I could do the same thing again here and mirror it, but it's got less space down here, and for the most part, it doesn't really look like any of the latches really work down here. So I could do the same thing here with the corridor, just have it come down to here, and then we can perp some of this stuff over here. I gotta put a stone there. We could perp some of the stuff down here for that. And again, no room, nothing used down here, so this will be deck 10. So a corridor through here would be a good idea. Yeah, I tell you, the first plans of this build really leave a lot to be desired as far as space and stuff goes. The latches and the way the latches work got me completely stumped. But, as long as we accommodate for them, I don't think they take up a large section of the ship, per se. Oh, by the way, we added an airlock here, and this will be a Jeffries tube airlock once it's incorporated, because I intend to try to utilize some of the stuff from over here. Now, this is the secondary hull, and then it transitions up to the primary hull. So one of the locking mechanisms for the primary hull is this bad boy right here. As you can see, somebody's already trying to get it sketched out for what it's going to be used for. Now, the reason that has to be in this deck, and on the Ed Whitefire plans, I think it is actually in here as well, but it's actually more along over here, is because of the fact that there's really no space down here for the latch to latch, so we had to bring it up to the deck here. And it looks like it might just be off on one of these things here. This all looks like it's lined up, so it's this deck that's offlined. So let me fix this here real quick. I had to move it, and some of it may not have gotten updated from the move. Yeah, got something new to the server. There we go. Now it's updated. And I just so it's uniform going up and down. And under here, if I remember, I did that over there. We had to do that over there as well. In the secondary hall, make sure I have my spade selected when I hit my macro key. There we go. And don't need that. Me up there. Come on. And this space in here isn't really going to be used for anything, so it'll probably be systems related to the secondary hall and, of course, the connectings and the umbilicals and all that stuff. I also, on the above the command deck, the battle bridge, I set aside some space for umbilicals up there as well. So we'll probably be adding additional breaches through the hull for umbilicals and things like that. And you can see the original position of one of the latches was right here. Well, we had to position it here. Again, it comes up to this deck, again, which is that deck over there, same thing. And these three main latches all connect through here. And then there's this latch, which is this was actually pretty well fletched out in the design, and it actually matched up pretty decently with what we had in here and on this deck. So I went ahead and just cleaned it up and kept it in. And this is deck 8. And wow, I'm starting to learn the decks. That's pretty scary. But give me a year and I won't remember them. So we have these three primary latches, and the way they work is they come up, and I don't know, I guess they extend this way and this way, but most of the latches and stuff are magnetically sealed. So this would just come up and magnetically grapple to the one above it, kind of like two magnets repel, two magnets attract, that kind of a thing. Same thing over here. So the mechanism to connect to that latch would sit on top of here, and when these latches are extended, they sort of, right about here, you know, about the halfway point, they connect to themselves. And they also, through the connection, attach umbilicals. So all the umbilicals for this section have to be put in to feed into this, to go down to this section, to feed into this section, and this section of the secondary hall. So they're not actually going to turn, they're not going to latch and extend, although some of them may or may not. Like if push comes to shove, and if we can, they probably have like little locking pins through here or locking pins through here that might slide out or something like that. We'll never be able to implement that in Minecraft, but you know, the thought of it is there. But they're basically, this one lowers and this one extends, and they meet it somewhere in the middle, and they magnetically grapple, and you know, they don't separate until their charge is turned off, and then of course they can separate, but they still have a physical connection, because I guess they would interlock within their own system. But yeah, it's one of those things. How it works, I have no idea. Whoops, get rid of that. And these are the three big ones, and I think there's a couple of smaller ones, but I'm not sure. We'd have to go over to that one over there real quick. It's Buzz over there. Oh, I also did this. I outlined the. I should mention that I did this. I've done so much since the last video update. I went ahead and added the green in, which is the primary hall, and then the brown, which is the secondary hall. As you can see, it marriages. I completely gone ahead and slow this down. Well, I guess I better make sure I'm flying when I slow it down. Anyways, I went ahead and redesigned this whole area as well. This turbo lift no longer, I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I have to go back and watch the video. So if I'm going over stuff that I've already mentioned, please forgive me. I'll do this real quick then. Instead of going up and then over the top of that, I decided to bring it forward and then go over the top of it. That way there I can connect to this turbo lift system here, which made the turbo lift system that went around this side of the command module, or the battle bridge, the citadel, pointless. It wasn't needed. It was superfluous. It was just a waste of space. So what I did is I moved the Jeffries tube to this side, which gives us, you know, place to route things if we want to route things. It does get a little short through here. You know, half slab that if we ever had to, and call it good. But I don't know. It also gave me a chance to add a Jeffries tube to the battle bridge, in addition to the one that leads up to the umbilical sections of the ship up here. And again, I don't really know what's going to happen up here, but it's most likely just going to be some like atmospheric control stuff, some umbilical connectors, things like that. Things that will, you know, go from here that can feed over here to that side, or along over here, or down into over here, or whatever. Once this has actually got time to work on this, we'll get this all fleshed out. But yeah, that's the main thing I did, and it seems to be a lot nicer, cleaner. I like it. It allowed me to run this corridor along here, use some more of this space, and then of course run the corridor through here to the Deck 13 airlock, or Deck 8 airlock. And then there's the Jeffries airlock right here, and then I'm not really sure. I think there's another airlock in here somewhere, possibly down here. But what I did then is I ran this Jeffries tube forward all the way to the midpoint of the ship, which is here. The door for this is right here. So this trunk line, again, you have this Jeffries tube, and then up here I extended the corridor and added a gangway. Seemed like the right thing to do. Back. So you don't have to go all the way out into bumfuck Egypt and then come all the way back around here to get in there. You can just do it here. Then all these through here would probably be support systems, or, you know, emergency get your ass in there and hold your breath stations for separating the holes, and this may not seal, kind of a thing. So that was my reason for that, my thinking behind that. Now, for those lifts forward, we will probably have the same system here that I designed for the, I think it was the Sovereign, not Sovereign, but the Enterprise E, this system here. Or was it the Voyager? I may have used this on the Voyager too. No, I think this is Enterprise E design. Anyways, up here for these lifts up here, and we've got space allocated for those. Up here. We were going to go look at latches, but I decided not to do that because that's boring. That's real boring stuff. Oh, here's the computer core. Somebody's been working on that. Look at the size of that monster. Again, this is an upscale version of the Patchy Patch design, from what I gather. It looks like it anyways. So there's quite a bit of work to be done on it yet, but it has its own warp core, which begs the question, if this has its own warp core, yeah, what happens if this warp core goes critical and they have to jettison it? How do they jettison the warp core from the computer core? I don't understand that. Anyways, food for thought. Sorry about that, I had to clear my throat. Anyways, up here, underneath this lift, this will be set up for lift machinery down here. And then it'll also have a bunch of other stuff to go with it as well. But make sure we put our magenta where we need our magenta to be. Magenta will eventually be replaced by another block. It's just, we know that magenta is an outline. It's used for that. So if we ever had to, we can pull these out. We can see where the deck lines are and stuff like that. But yeah, on this side, this one here, this is the starboard side. This is where it'll be at. And, oh yeah, it's already been fixed over there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just plugging away on it. Hopefully this area here has already been pulled out and saved. And I also saved the original version over there. Well, original older version of this over there from the stack. So when I implement this, and I have no idea how I'm going to do that, but I will get it done. Get her done. I'll get her done. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Again, this is a Minetrek.net game server, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, if you'd hit that like button for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd visit us on Facebook, then like us there, that'd be also great. And have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.